What's up, guys? On the Fly is back again, and guess what? Tonight we are on the air. this
Nice.
this was a Christmas present for my daughter, so I'm gonna figure out a way to
Oh,
get it hanging.
you put it up there because there won't be any eruptions and stuff.
No, I won't go.
Oh,
They actually joked with me, told me,
oh,
put it on the door outside when you're on the air, so we can know.
yeah.
I was like, if y'all don't hear my big mouth running in there and know something's going on, then something's wrong. But anyway. We're back again, and tonight we are finishing our top 10 list of the members of Kiss songs. Tonight we do Paul Stanley, the Star Child. And what we need to do after this is pick the best four songs from each member and we can make an album out of that one Kiss album. So we're going to have to debate that when we'll take each one's top four and put it against each other and see who makes the cut. Have 12 songs. We'll have a 12-song album. I know back in the day, it was like 9 or 10 songs was the most, but we'll have a 12-song album. We could actually be like Hot to Shade and have about 16, 17, but I think 12 is enough.
Best of the solos, what it was called, they released.
Solos, but this is our best of the solos. We can come up with an album name and everything, but I think that's a good idea.
Is that another episode or?
That's another episode, dude.
Sounds good to me.
To finish it off. So we're recording January 10th. Not a whole lot going on in the music world that I've seen, which I don't know if anything you've heard. Did get to see the Iron Claw movie, which if you're a fan of the Triple Threat wrestling main event wrestling podcast, you'll hear our views on that this upcoming Saturday night, hopefully.
You saw it 1.5 times, didn't you, Stevie?
I did. I seen it, and I will probably watch it again. But yeah, we'll talk about that. So Saturday night, like Saturday night's main event, we'll be talking about that come Saturday night with our buddy from down under, Jack Pinocchio. He's actually going to see it on I think on Friday is when he goes to see it. What he told me.
The 12th, right?
Yeah, that's Friday. But let me see if I can pull up some headlines here. See if anything. Look, let me tell you this. I know something I wanted to talk about. The ridiculous crap that is Rolling Stone magazine. These people get stupider by the minute. And they all they want to do is make people talk, and guess what? It works because I'm talking about it right now. The top 10 worst songs of the 80s, and I mean I wish I should have saved it so I could put the list up here. I'll have to find it and where I can post it. But there were some songs up there, dude, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? There were iconic songs from the 80s.
I always notice a list that I see, not so much with Rolling Stone, but other ones. People always rag on "Party All the Time" by Eddie Murphy. That's a badass song, dude.
It's not a bad song at all.
It's not. Yeah,
they rag on it because Eddie Murphy's singing it. If that is a Rick James song that he let Eddie Murphy sing because they wanted him to, do that.
That's a good jam.
If it's a Rick James song, nobody says anything about it. I did want to talk about Kiss related, and I'm gonna.
What has Ace done now?
No, not. I mean, really, as much as I love Ace, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'll get this out of the way too. As much as I love Ace, Ace has gone down on my top. He's not on the top of the heap anymore as far as my favorite Kiss member.
Really?
Yes, he's gone down to number 3 as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, really?
Yes. He needs to shut his mouth.
Wow, Stevie, that was your guy.
I mean, I'm just tired of. I mean, dude, the guy needs to learn to shut his mouth. I don't know if he's got I've been understanding. I've took up for the guy, but I don't know if he's got something mentally going wrong, like senile or something like that. But he needs to just be quiet. You're talking about Eddie Van Halen. Talking about that. Come on, dude. Really? It's just getting old, and I'm tired of it. I'm not gonna hate. I don't hate Ace by any means, I'm still a big fan of Ace, and I still like him more than all the other, except for two members of Kiss. And but enough's enough. We get it. We know you're out there. So hush,
Well,
just
didn't
hush.
he like almost threaten like Gene and Paul with like was that not his current girlfriend, but the other one like said that Gene propositioned her or something. And
Oh, Gene
he was
had.
gonna threaten. He threatened him, and it's like
Yeah, that was that. And then you see he dumped that Looney Tune really quick because she was bad news. Look, I listened to this. I go back and listen to a lot of the older episodes of podcasts, and it was a Kiss podcast, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but it was an older episode. Maybe it had to be 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, and they were talking about her, and one of the guys said, I think she's really good for him. I think she's a good person. She's really good for him. And I was like, boy, if I could send that clip to that guy that said that and see his face now.
right.
Oh, because when I heard it, I was like, really, really. But yeah, she's kind
I
of.
I remember I was on like some I don't know what some maybe it could have been Loudcasters or something, but there was a point where I think Ace left her and she was trying to sue him or
Oh yeah,
something,
yeah.
and I put on there, Ace is gone and he told you so. I mean, it was like, yeah, take a hint. It's kind of like in Wayne's World. Remember when Laura Flynn Boyle came up to, just because
Well,
we broke out doesn't mean we can't go out. Hello, that's what breaking up is. Yeah.
yeah. That
So
was.
I'm curious, Stevie. I want to know this list now. I mean,
We'll save that for another episode. Can't get
wow. I
it away.
mean, wow.
Um, I will tell you this: we're listening to one of our favorite podcasts, me and Warden's favorite podcast is Shout Out Loudcast.
How we met.
And this past week, they had Bruce Kulick on. They had
Stanley
an
guy.
in-depth interview, probably one of the best interviews they've ever done. Tom and Zeus, hats off to you. Great episode. And it just confirmed what I thought, that, Bruce was never invited and, never even asked to come on stage or anything. I do disagree with the point that I think Ace ruined it for everybody else. You don't, if Paul is that worried about it, Bruce Kulick has never done anything to make you think he's gonna try to upstage you or do anything like that. Bruce Kulick was a big part of Kiss. I mean, and to not, that is a really crappy move not to even invite him. You invited freaking Chris Angel, and you didn't invite Bruce Kulick. Come on, guy. That's common.
I kind of lit it kind of differently. I think the reason why they didn't get up there and say goodbye to everybody like they did in the farewell tour, because I don't think to Gene and Paul, maybe more Paul, I don't think they think this is the end of the band. Kiss is going on with the Avatars as much as we may hate it, but to them this isn't the end of the band. So why say goodbye if the band's going to continue? Just something else to buy. They could have given a little bit because the technology is not there yet. That's why they're waiting 3 years before the
Oh
next
yeah,
show.
it's gonna be a while. They're even.
I mean, you look at the Avatars, it's just not there yet. I mean, go away for a while, come back, but no, Kiss has always got to be there, and that
Well,
they're not going away. They're just progressing, I guess, for lack of a better word.
what you're saying, okay, but I see what you're saying. But why would you call it the end of the road tour and make it out like this is it? This is the pay-per-view. We're saying this is the last one.
Because technically, it's not end of the road if they're going to play festivals. That's
Well,
going to be on the road.
Who knows if they're going to do that? The Avatars are supposed to be doing that.
That's what I mean. Why call it the end of the road if they're going to be playing? These Avatars are going to be playing festivals.
You built it up all this time as this is the last concert, and you've played it out like that, and you can't. I mean, take a nod to the guys that got you there, the guys that held it together too. It helped you hold it together while all this was going. The '80s, Derek Carr's. I mean, gosh knows, dude.
And
I have to give a shout out to one of our big supporters of On the Fly, Marty White. He always has something to comment on YouTube, And with the episode we did with Janet Simmons, the Rise of the Fox author, he made a comment that had some people going like, "Oh, wait, first you have to know Marty to know when he makes a comment, it's most of the time it's going to be sarcastic." And he said the comment that Paul made about Eric at the last concert was so touching. And he said, "Okay, now back to earth." You know, yeah, it was sarcasm. There was no comment about Eric. And that's just what I get. I mean, Paul checked out months ago, probably even years ago when COVID hit and extended everything. Paul was ticked off. Paul was ready to get it. He was ready to get it over with. And you know, I just it just kills me. I know we've harped on this before, but it just kills me that hearing Bruce talk about it. And Bruce doesn't say anything bad about anybody. Nope. But it was hurtful. He was angry and he was disappointed. I mean, and rightfully so.
I think I think it's what's sad about, I don't think the fans got screwed. I think Bruce got screwed out of all of it, because the fans, you don't have to pay your money to do it. But you're sitting there as Bruce Kulick and you champion an era that a lot of us got into, and a lot of us love that era.
Well, it was just like you came in it. You came in this in that era.
Yeah. And then it's like, it's like, they neglect it now and like, that's not, no, it's not. It's still something to a lot of us. Of course, I'm told by the Ace cult, "Oh, that's not the real Kiss." I'm like, okay, whatever.
Look, let me tell you this.
I felt worse for Bruce than I did anybody else, because you look at Ace, you look at Peter, they've had their bridges. Vinny's Vinny, and the other two are gone. I mean, who's left that has been like the constant and has supported the band all these years?
Yeah.
Bruce.
What do I call him? The ambassador of Kiss. Always has been. And just like he said, I always will be the flag bearer especially for my era of Kiss.
And if anybody should have been there, it should have been him.
It should have been Bruce. Exactly. I mean, this guy has done he hasn't said anything in the press like some other people have. I mean, like Peter, and Bruce said he talked to Peter. He texted Peter about that comment he made, how classy that was. And I mean, come on, dude. If you're going to be, if this is just going to be the Paul Stanley Friends show, advertise that to start with. I mean, Chris Angel, no doubt about Desmond Child was okay there, but Gene doesn't like Desmond Child. I mean, that's Paul Stanley there. Everything, and then you got your son his band opening the show. Okay.
I don't know, man. I've seen some of his stuff. I kind of dig it. A lot better than a paint. I would like to see him instead of a painter.
Well, I mean, I would like to see. Let me see. I better not say that because that might make some people mad. I would like to see probably any band more than I'm sitting there watching a painter. I'm sorry if you're a painter, but that's not something I'm looking to do when I go to a rock concert, is watch a painter.
I don't know, man. I was really upset that because I had tickets for an Austin show, the last show I saw him, and David Lee Roth was supposed to play. Was like, well, he can't sing. I was like, I listened to some of his stuff from the 70s and 80s. He couldn't sing back then.
Nobody ever claimed David Lee Roth was one of the greatest singers of all time. His voice just fit that, man. Hey, it's kind of like Ace. I'll say this. Ace, his voice fits his songs. It's not a great voice by any means. I mean, you listen to like Rock Soldiers. That's pretty much, it's almost like a rap song. I mean, he's not.
Who Ace always remind me of?
Who's that?
Beck, when he did like Loser. I mean, he's got the accent like Beck, and it's just like he's just got that, like he's not even trying. I mean, yeah.
I mean, Ace's voice fit the songs. I mean, like except for Torpedo Girl, that train.
Dude, that's his best song ever.
Did you see
I think Bruce did his "I Walk Alone." I think that's a good song. I'm not big on Carnival of Souls, but that's not a bad song.
I do like "I Walk Alone." A lot of people don't like that, but I do like "I Walk Alone." It's different. I mean, to Bruce finally gets his chance, but
I'm kind of sad though because I knew the Grand Funk Railroad. They've been playing. I did Grand Funk Railroad. I like some of their stuff. I would go if they would have played here. I would have went and saw them, but they haven't played here, so can't do that no more.
And he made that clear that he was not leaving because any bad feelings. It was just to concentrate on his legacy, and who knows what else might happen. I mean, he pretty much he didn't say no to the Gene Simmons thing, but he did say he hadn't been contacted. So
I don't know. I think if he was going to do something like that, I think with all these interviews he's doing, he would announce something already.
Well, it may still be in the works. So
that's true.
We'll hold out hope that maybe
Gene may not really have an option because I mean Shannon may want him home. I mean, who knows?
Well, I mean, I'm saying and that may be another thing too. Gene may not be ready to go back out yet, but I think he.
Hope he's over that kidney stone he passed at the.
On his schmeckle. Yeah, on his schmeckle. All right. I was looking a while ago, and I missed this. The Eagles bring out a special guest on stage. Who is this?
Glenn Fry hologram.
Oh, good Lord. An avatar. A Glenn Fry avatar. Who is that? J.D. Southern. Okay, the unofficial member of the Eagles who wrote all those songs. So I thought it was going to be some fun. But, of course, the Eagles are one of our favorite bands.
I don't know. To me, when the Eagles died, when Glenn Fry died, that's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, but they're keeping on. Just like
I know, but yeah.
Well, okay, now hold on. It's just like the Kiss fans that say, "Well,
I know." But I'm not. No, to me, I take that back. The Eagles they're still the Eagles,
right?
But to me, I have no desire to see them without Glenn Fry. How's that sound?
That's what
Because you still got probably the most important member of the band ever. That's Don Henley, arguably.
Oh yeah.
And I just say that because he's from Texas.
Oh, good Lord. We're in the Texas stuff again.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we've started, this was a while back. I think we actually did the first top 10 list with Ace. And then we went to
Torpedo Girl.
And then we went to Gene and then Peter. Now we finish up with the Star Child. Of course, you see Worden. You're looking for someone, but it's not Kiss. Famous line from the Phantom of the Park movie. So our top 10 favorite. We have to every time we have to make sure you guys know that
our favorite.
Our favorite. This isn't a Rolling Stone list. This is our favorite list. So I'm gonna go first.
You go first, Stevie. Your show.
I got a tie at number 10.
Oh my God! How dare you?
And you guys know, I'm a sucker for a ballad.
And he's a sucker, period.
Yeah, really. Some people would say that. So I'm going to start off with the ballad. And this is one that doesn't get enough attention and probably should have been a single off that album.
They keep me away from you?
Oh, good Lord. Don't go there. No, actually, Hold Me, Touch Me from the solo album. No,
that's better than that one.
It is better than that one, but still, it's awful. But no,
not bad.
From they just took the makeup off, and that was fitting right up Paul's alley, and they do A Million to One, which was probably, well, not the first Kiss ballad because I think I Still Love You was that, but yeah, A Million to One. I'll have to look it up. I mean, this should have been a single off there. I know they wanted to go heavy, but I mean that mid '80s. When Lick It Up comes out, you're on the verge of Home Sweet Home coming out. They should have put this out as a single. I think it would have been a big hit. It is a big hit to me and to a lot of Kiss fans. I just think this would have been this would have been huge for them. But A Million to One, and then keeping it with the ballad thing off Creatures. We just talked about it. Probably one of the best.
Keep me coming.
Yes, yes. Probably one of the best vocal performances you'll ever hear Paul Stanley do was on a Live 3 and on Unplugged. I Still Love You. I mean, I know this was.
Oh, thank you, Stevie.
Yeah, a lot of people say this was probably written about Donna Dixon.
I think both of them were.
It may have been, but the Donna Dixon saga.
She was hot.
Yeah. Go to Dan Aykroyd over Paul.
God, can you imagine yourself as
talk about a shot to the confidence? Wow, you get dumped.
But it's good to see a fat, funny guy win for once, you know.
Gee, Lord. But yeah,
I wonder if he ever takes his kids to see like Ghostbusters and Daddy, who's that?
Yeah, who's that, Dad? But, yeah, so those two ballads right there, I think should have been bigger hits than they were. I mean, 83 with Creatures or 82 with Creatures, that was probably maybe a little reach if you'd have put that out as a single. But I mean, I think A Million to One would have been a good time for them to put out a ballad like that. Paul always wanted to find his second Forever. Well, Forever could have been his second A Million to One if he'd have put it out.
Yeah, good point. Well,
all right.
I have a first in the, at least my first in the on the fly history.
Oh, God.
I have a three-way tie. Who is it down for a three-way?
Don't ever talk about me again.
Yeah. Well, I could have put this in. Okay, listen to my madness here. Two of the songs are sister songs. I think that I don't know what to say, like a sequel to it, but they're a lot alike. And the third one is A Million to One. 1983, Paul Stanley. I mean, I remember reading something on there saying, you know, when Kiss took the makeup off, God, that's why they took it off. They weren't talking about Paul. Paul was what you call a handsome man back then.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Gene was Gene. But my first, the other two, it's another song off this one. It's pretty much probably one of the fastest songs on here. It's Love Is Sweet, So Insane. Give Me More. I love this song. And it's tied with Take Me. Because to me, these two songs, you know, a few albums before are sister songs because they're about one thing, and that's getting it on.
Yeah.
Give Me More and Take Me. I consider them, and I consider these, especially like Take Me, I think it's kind of the beginning of hair metal cock rock, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's fast. It's got the, you know, it's not saying the F word, you know, Kiss is like Aerosmith in a lot of ways. They can like double entendre. Is that a word? Is that what they say? They're not just saying the F word. They're actually, you know, like Aerosmith does it too. And it's just a lot more clever than just using the F word. But give me more and Take Me. You know, that's when you want the girl and you get her, but when she dumps your ass, that's when you sing A Million to One. So they all three go together, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Kiss lived off that double entendre back in the 70s. So, yeah that's pretty obvious there. Three-way tie. Don't ever talk about me again.
And it may not be the last one, Stevie.
I'm sure. This one was tough. You know, Paul Stanley. He's the star of Kiss, no pun intended. He was always a spokesperson, but I didn't realize how many freaking songs this guy sang. I mean, I knew it was 40, but how many songs this guy sang? And it's hard to leave some of these off, but you had to.
It's like Gene's. It's like he said on that documentary that Gene's the face of Kiss. He's the voice. He definitely is the voice.
Yeah. So number 9.
Or you could come up with three-way ties like some of us do, you know. Sorry.
Number 9 for me. And actually, I'm going to have another tie.
Hey, it's all good.
I couldn't leave this up. And this song, I remember during the reunion tour, hearing it live, and it kind of like, because it wasn't really, I mean, I was a fan of the song, but it made me a bigger fan of it hearing the live version when they add the little instrumental thing at the end. But the drum beat starts. Peter with the drum beat off of it. It's one of those iconic drum beats, and then Paul chimes in, and no music at all, just Paul singing. You really like "Do You Love Me?" It's got and then Paul gets. I remember as a kid hearing that bridge and thinking that was so cool because it sounded different when he's at your backstage pass and black sunglasses make you look just like a queen. When that sounded so cool. But then, like I said, with the reunion tour, I remember getting a bootleg VHS of Madison Square Garden. That was the first reunion tour show I saw full. And when Paul and Ace at the end of it start playing together, they do that thing at the end. I was like, that is so freaking cool. But Do You Love Me? And then this may have a little fatigue, or it would have been higher, but it's still a kick-ass song. And I mean, the live or the studio version, Detroit Rock City. I mean, you can't go wrong with that with Paul. And I don't know if you remember the version they did on the Unmasked tour. He kind of changed it up a little bit. Didn't go low. He went kind of high on some of the stuff. There was a different pitch to it. But yeah, Detroit Rock City and Do You Love Me are my number 9s.
Do You Love Me did not make my list. The other one we may talk about later. I don't know. I remember Do You Love Me. I remember when I was getting into Kiss, of course, I got into Asylum and I went back and got Dressed to Kill. I think the first album that I really became a super fan was Destroyer.
Yeah.
With the Detroit Rock City intro, and then it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
That when you're backstage pass and dark, even the fans, they know your face from all the magazines.
Yeah,
it's like to this 16-year-old kid thinking, God, it must be great to be a rock star back there, or being a rock star, period. And just he's telling the story about it. I love the intro, the Peter's drums and stuff like that. But I think with that one, it was fatigue, I guess. It's getting a little bit, because
it probably is.
Destroyer was the first T-shirt I ever bought. I mean, I didn't go out and buy an Asylum shirt. I went and bought a Destroyer shirt at a Metal Edge, and I think as time goes by, I like this album. I like that. I think Destroyer is my all-time favorite album by Kiss, because there's just, I mean, most of the stuff they do live, it's just from beginning kick-ass. And the Resurrection, the one that came out in 2012, I can't believe it's been that long. I mean, that's just kick-ass. So that didn't make but that's just a great song. I mean, I remember I had a magazine of when the Kiss magazine used to come out, and it was Destroyer. Yeah. And it was just and I'm thinking of Paul singing that song. It's because I knew Gene, but I was learning about Paul. Who's this other guy singing? I thought Gene was a singer, And
you remember the version they did? It's probably back during. It may have been during the Love Gun. They played it. I mean, mega fast, and I think it was on the "Kiss My Ass" home video. They did it in New York. That one was different, but it was cool too. I mean, that was them at their peak, I believe.
And even the unplugged version is pretty cool. I mean, that's back when. Yeah. That's back. I think that's when Paul. I mean, I think he hit his peak.
Paul hit his peak about that time. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, because he was still a god in the 80s, and going into the 80s, going into the 90s. But that unplugged. On that other podcast I listened to with Mitch and Chris from Decibel Geek, they were talking about how Unplugged showed that they were more than a one-dimensional band. That they had some great songs, and it's one of the best-selling. It's one of the best-selling Unplugged out there. It's one of the best.
Unplugged is what I mean. I would rather listen to Unplugged than any Greatest Hits album. I would rather listen because it's pretty much a Greatest Hits album, but I would listen to that one before I listen to Double Platinum or Greatest Kiss or anything like that.
I'm a little biased towards Smashes because I like that production, except for I Love It Loud. I don't like that production, but I like that production, that 80s production. Okay. Speaking of 80s, my number 9 is another 3-way tie.
Good God. Why
But
don't we
this
just
one,
name
this
every concert?
yeah, yeah. Hey man, you rubbed off on me, bro. So I learned it from what remember that commercial in the 80s? Where'd you learn to do this? I learned it from watching you, all right? These three songs, I think I put them together because I think it, it's stupid to say, and oh yeah, that's nonsense. But back around when I was a teenager, I didn't get along with my dad, and we had a lot of, growing up being an ain't. But Crazy Nights, My Way, and Turn on the Night. I got into Kiss with Asylum, but I really got into them with Crazy Nights. I would have my Walkman and I would listen to Crazy Nights. Hell, we had to bring a song to school to like do the words, and I did Crazy Nights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I said it. This is our music. We love it loud. That people try to take my soul away. The only thing about Crazy Nights I never understood is that's a song about standing up for yourself and everything. What the hell do Crazy Nights have to do with that? I mean, it's like it's a catchy chorus, but it has nothing to do with the rest of the song. My Way, people rag on that song. Some of our friends, I love My Way. It just got me through it. Turn on the Night, as we both said, should have been a big, 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 big hit. If Bon Jovi would have done this, if not Cinderella, more Poison, it would have been a big hit. But Kiss got blacklisted in the 80s, and it's a crime.
Well, it's just everybody thought they're old. They're old.
Yeah, but Aerosmith didn't have that problem.
That's true. But
for
some reason,
I guess Desmond Child didn't
makeup too. It may have been these are the clowns, the old clowns.
Yeah, but all that crap was on Dial MTV. I mean, it was all number one.
Doesn't make much sense, does it?
Nope, it doesn't.
All right. So 3-way tie, Crazy Nights.
Just call it my Crazy Night list.
My Way.
Yeah, no. When Your Walls Come Down, kitty, kitty.
Here, kitty, kitty.
God, that is probably my least favorite Kiss song ever.
Bang You up there, or is that later?
Which one?
Bang Bang You.
I like that song.
I don't mind that song. All right. So what am I on? Number 8. This one, I remember hearing it the first time, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And something was different about it, and I was like, "Yeah, that guitar player doesn't sound the same." Even as a kid, I was like, "That doesn't sound the same." But on side 4 of Alive 2, a 6-foot hot look All-American Man. That song, it just kicked. Bob Kulick, God rest his soul, played the heck out of the guitar on that. And Paul, I mean, this could have been a big hit on Love Gun.
Oh yeah.
If they'd have took Then She Kissed Me off, put All American Man up there, would have been great. There was a couple of songs off that side 4 of Alive. I won't talk about some of them, but there was a couple of songs off that side 4 and Alive 2 that could have been on Love Gun and really been a big hit. But All American Man is a cult classic. Everybody wants to hear it. I think they played it a couple of times on the cruises.
They did it at some kind of state fair. There was a contest of like which play the most obscure Kiss song, and they played it, and Paul goes, "This is the first time we played this, probably the last time too." And they probably did it on cruises. They did it on a tour too. So I don't know why he hates that song. It's a great song.
That's what I can't figure out. What is the deal with that? Why he hates that?
It's like the shit he does with Asylum and Animalize. Why does he hate that stuff?
He doesn't need to bash this stuff. A lot of this stuff, because we as fans, when you bash that stuff and we're fans of it, it makes us think, what the heck, dude?
I know.
Yeah. Anyway,
I agree.
Yeah, All American Man, and that's that could have. And look, let me tell you, with this list, any of these songs could interchange up here.
You may hear from that one a little later, Stevie.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, the next one.
All right, the next 3-way tie.
No, next one's actually 1. Number 8's a 1. And speaking of Bob Kulick, there's rumors that he played on this and not Vinny. But a song that I still think stands up to like early 80s rock from 83, 82, 80. Was it, when did Creatures come out? 82
or 83.
Was it 81, 82?
It was 82, I think. But let me
Yeah,
make
82. It stands up there, and it could have been a song. It was a throwaway. It's probably another song Paul doesn't like, and that's called Danger. I read somewhere just a real fast, kick-ass song that maybe if they would have done this a couple years earlier and not the debacle that was the Elder, maybe they would have kept some of those fans, had that little bit of toughness back on there. But I've heard Bob Kulick played on this and not Benny. I don't know if that's true or not. We know it was an ace. So
ace, no matter what the picture says, it wasn't ace.
Wasn't they also rumored? Didn't that guy from Mr. come in and play?
Ferris, Steve Ferris?
Maybe he did. I don't know what they did because they don't really know. But Bob Kulick was one, and it does sound something like you'd hear on All American Man or something. I can see that. But Danger could have been a big hit on MTV if MTV didn't have such a bias against Kiss. But I think it should have been a single, and I think it before I Love It Loud. That I Love It Loud so iconic, but I think this should have come out first. My opinion.
So Danger, and first time we don't have a three-way tie.
Yep. Don't get used to it though.
I'm sure. All right. So what are we on now? Number 7 for me. And this one, it probably I could have went higher with this, but higher and higher and higher. It's not Flaming Youth. This is another cult classic that a lot of people want to see played live, and I think maybe once or twice it may have been played live, but one of the most popular deep cuts out there off Rock and Roll Over, Mr. Speed. I remember as a kid being scared of that song. I'm like 6 years old. I'm not scared of God of Thunder, but for some reason Mr. Speed gives me.
Were you picturing Paul in Rod Stewart pants? Oh, that never mind.
When he gets to the guitar solo, he says, "Look out!" When they did that, I was like, "What is this going to say?" But Mr. Speed is such a kick-ass song, and another song that they kind of downplay too. Like I don't understand, and that's going to be. Well, maybe not after this one. That would be with all of these. Most of these songs that I've said so far, they've been downplayed. These are deep cuts, except for like "Do You Love Me" in Detroit Rock City. Yeah, Mr. Speed. He's just freaking awesome in that. I mean, just as much as I hate Paul's attitude now, I mean, this guy made Kiss.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it, and he held Kiss together, but. It is what it is, dude. Mr. Speed is my number 7.
I'm gonna tell you something, Stevie. Right now, I am not a fan of Mr. Speed. It's weird. I don't know. It's too slow. It's off Rock and Roll Over. I wish it was more in the vein of a little bit faster, kind of like Take Me.
Oh yeah.
Because when he says "ow," it's like a half-ass "ow." It's just not one of. I mean, I don't hate it. But it's too slow for me. And it's a great song, otherwise. But if it was just speed up a little bit better, if Mr. Speed had more speed, I guess. It's not one of my favorite Paul songs. I don't think it sucks.
Right.
I don't skip it, but it's not one of my favorites, and it wouldn't make my list. But that it's not fast enough, I guess, for me. I mean, because the whole, and except for like I guess. Well, I Want You kind of goes out there, but that whole album is kind of fast. Love Them, Leave Them, all that Dr. Love.
I Want You's got that intro that's kind of
slow,
but then they speed it up really quick.
Yep.
All right. What's your number 7?
Number 7's a tie, just a two-way tie. Two-way tie.
We're going to have 30 songs in your list.
Yeah, it's my list, dude. Well, I will call this the Alive set because there's 2 songs off Alive that are probably 2 of my favorite Paul songs, and I couldn't leave one without the other because, like the album, the Alive 1 track is better, and that is Firehouse and Come On and Love Me. Firehouse reminds me of kind of a granddaddy of Heaven's on Fire a little bit. It's got that kind of that building guitar.
Right.
And then Come On and Love Me is just a kick-ass jam. It's just, Touched Her Hips and Told Me That She Let Me. I mean, dude, what? How do you have to explain that? But this is all it is. Not his peak. This is a rock star in the making right here.
The line of "Come On, Love Me" though is she's a dancer. I'm a Capricorn and she's a Cancer.
She saw my picture in a music I don't know. I still like
a picture.
Touched Her Hips and Told Me That She'd Let Me, dude. That come on, dude. That's poetry, bro.
It's almost as good as what is it?
Hand in Pocket, Grab Onto My Rocket.
Yeah, that one and God.
Love Is Sweet, So Insane.
Hold on, I'm playing it through my head right now. Ladies' Room.
So you lift your dress, you want to impress.
I gotta, and then
oh yeah, stiff proposition.
I got a stiff proposition. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's freaking magic there. That's lyrical magic.
And this is a band that was targeted towards kids. No wonder we're so messed up.
They weren't at first though, because I mean, you see kids walking around going, "Put your hand in my pocket, grab hold to my rocket." So I mean,
and it's funny too. Is like you listen to Plaster Caster and you're like, God,
what's that about, mommy?
Yeah, but it's kind of funny though. Like after the solo albums, they didn't do that again. They didn't start doing that till like the 80s.
They knew it was more about they were cartoon characters then, and they knew we can't do that. The kids, the parents won't let the kids listen to that. So that was. Then we go from that after the cartoon characters say we let me put my log in your fireplace, or let me be your king bee. I want your hornet's nest.
Well, also Give Me More was on there too, and Lick It Up, and then Keep Me Coming. I mean, what's that about?
Oh, I mean, double entendre again.
I know. I always thought that was as close as maybe next to Trial by Fire. Not Trial by Fire. What's the other one?
Secretly Cruel?
No, not the one after that. Before All Night. The one they say rips off of Zeppelin.
Radar for Love.
Yeah, Radar for Love. I think Keep Me Coming is a rip off of Zeppelin too. I mean, I just kind of like Dire Maker or whatever they call it.
Right. All right. Number 6 for me. Let me just say, any of these songs could flip flop here. I mean, this was just pretty much, I found my favorites and I put them in. It's not, I could change by the week on this. This song is probably my favorite off the Unplugged album. And I guess they got the picture that everybody kind of liked this song after that. So they started playing it more on tour. But off Dynasty, Sure Know Something. I mean, what can you say about that? The best, Screw I Was Made for Loving You.
Should have been a bigger hit.
Sure Know Something is the best song off Dynasty. I mean, what else?
I don't know about
Tell me another one.
Magic Touch.
Still, I like Sure Know Something better than Magic Touch. That's a good song, though. Don't get me wrong. That's a good song.
Neither one of those two made my list.
You're sitting there talking about, but yeah, Sure Know Something.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
And it should have been a bigger hit. I mean, the video is freaking awesome with the heads coming at the screen, and then Peter's coked out so bad he's up there like,
well, hell, Ace is too, dude.
Oh God, I mean that's a given back then, but I mean Peter is just like spaced out. And looking back there at him playing the drums for the video and knowing, I mean, he's got to kind of know this is about to be it for me. I mean, and there's some times you look back there and he's got a terrible.
It's too bad because to me, I think his best song came off that album. At least one of his best songs. We talked about that last time.
Yeah, we did talk about that in the last episode. If you want to catch that, check out the YouTube page or check out us on any of your podcast providers, and you'll hear all about that. But yeah, Sure Know Something should have been a bigger hit. They played it on Unplugged. Then of course, when they went to Australia for the symphony, they did it there. That's a good version of it too. but yeah, Sure Know Something is my number 6.
You know, it's funny that lineup with Tommy and Peter. I thought that was a great lineup when they did
It wasn't
the.
bad.
I saw that lineup with Aerosmith, and that was one of the best Kiss shows I've seen.
I mean,
It was great.
We know the reason why they did it. I mean, but
Aerosmith, but I
they
thought
had to have 3 original members.
yeah. Well, if they would have, not gotten Eric back and kept Peter for a while, I would have liked that. I thought that they were great.
That wouldn't matter. It wouldn't
Because
bother.
people will say, "Well, Peter Criss wasn't good on that tour." The show I saw was great. He was great in Unplugged 4 or Kiss Alive 4. So
That was a symphony, yeah.
yeah. All right, I got good news and I got bad news, Stevie.
Here's another freaking.
Okay,
Way time.
There's one more 3-way tie, but it's the last one.
Good gosh.
Yes. So I call this my Alive 2 set. It's got All American Man, which you talked about earlier, which is a precursor to like hair bands, I think. And that's probably why Paul hates it. Because he probably all like the guys from Danger and Poison came, hey man, I like that song, All American Man, man. It made me write, I Still Think About You, or whoever wrote that song. All American Man. And I love the Alive 2 version of Love Gun. All right, Love Gun. And it only, to me, rivals the Love Gun version that's on Smashes when Paul, at the end, Love Gun, and they bring in more of the Ace solo. But the middle in that one, it's a song that gets a lot. Speaking about creating hair bands, Making Love. I mean, God, people like, that's just not a good song. No, that's a badass song. Making Love was great. I like the Live version, Live 2 version. I like the what was it on? Rock and Roll Over version. I mean, Making Love. So I could consider that my Alive 2. All American Man. I never thought about that, but it could have been on Love Gun. That would have been a single.
Exactly. I'm saying you take off.
And you talk about a Paul Stanley theme song,
Yeah, you take off Then She Kissed Me and put that up there. Perfect album.
Or God forbid you go above 32 minutes.
Oh yeah, I know. Back then that was a long album.
Yep.
All right. Number 5. And this is another one that should have been a bigger hit than it was. And is this the first one from no, we had A Million and One. This is a
Give Me More.
No, this is the second.
No, it was on Lick It Up.
No, I'm talking about on my list. I'm talking about on my list.
Oh, gotcha.
I forgot you had Give Me More. So actually, the third non-makeup on our list. The video. I remember the video coming out, and I was like, "Oh wow, they're actually going to do the Kiss is doing a story to a video." And I mean, as bad as I know they were doing a public service announcement against gang violence or whatever, guns or whatever, but Hide Your Heart. Remember hearing it when I got the Hot to Shade cassette for Christmas one year. And I remember hearing it, going through the whole thing, because back then when you got a cassette, you listened to the whole thing. I mean, because you didn't just skip around like you do on your phone today. But hearing Hide Your Heart and that chorus when they went na 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 na, hey, that was catchy. And then to see the video and put it together with Rosa and Tito, he was king of the streets. Dude spit doing the. I mean, what kind of crap? Gene spits doing the video. But I guess that's a precursor to all the drooling he did later on on this End of the Road tour. But did you notice that? Oh my gosh! And I'm glad, because there was another podcast I was listening to that was talking about one of the concerts.
Dude, he's like 75. Old men drool, dude.
I know, but this was a podcast from a couple years back. They were talking about how bad he was drooling.
He was in his 70s back then too.
Let me tell you that it may have something to do with all that crap he puts in his mouth to blow fire and crap.
Did you see that story that the
burnt toast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. But but Hide Your Heart, I mean, I could watch that video over and over again. It's a great
And
video.
when the gun, he's like, in the gun, he drops. It's like, man, somebody, you can hold that damn gun, dude. Don't
Yeah.
fumble it.
What was the guy's name? I mean, did they actually ever say
Johnny.
Johnny better run because he doesn't know how to hold a gun.
That girl had some badass hair. I remember thinking, man, she
Yeah,
got some
for that
cool
time,
hair. Yeah.
that's some great hair for that time.
Yeah.
But Rosa, but that was a great song, great story, great video. And it should have been bigger. And I mean, like we said, is MTV had something against Kiss? I don't know, but
Well, a lot of people covered it, and like Robin Beck did it.
Molly Hatchet.
They said that it was offered the Heart, but I think Ann Wilson was like, well, no, that's a little too close to home.
Yeah, Molly Hatchet. Cher do it? No, Cher did A World Without Heroes.
Yeah.
Gosh, who else was it? I used to know all this.
There's a girl named Robin Beck. She was like a no hit wonder, I guess.
Didn't what's her name? Bonnie Tyler. Didn't she do it?
Did she? I don't know.
I think Bonnie Tyler did it too.
Probably so. It's a good song. And your boy Ace.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you something. That was the strangest thing because
that's one of the worst songs ever.
I remember
you would have to like Torpedo Girl above that, bro. Come on.
I bought, got the Hot in the Shade cassette, and then I went out and bought the Ace Frehley cassette from that same year, and I was like,
Trouble Walking, one of the Ace's best songs. And he did Badass and Do Ya. I like that cover.
But this song was Bonnie Tyler did Hide Your Heart. It's an actual official music video for her doing Hide Your Heart. But yeah, I didn't like Ace's version of this at all. I mean, everybody says,
I don't know.
It's a close comparison. No, it's not. I mean, Paul Stanley kicked so much ass on this.
I think my biggest problem with Ace is that he tries to come across as punk. Like, when you listen to somebody that sings punk, they're like half-ass singing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think that's why people like him so much, because he's not polished like Paul. That he just goes, I mean, it's like if the Sex Pistols did it. It's just crap. I don't like
this song was his version of it was crap.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It's not what you call a good version.
No. Number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me is a tie. But this is a tie that you'll probably see why it's a tie. Because when I don't hear these two songs together, it drives me freaking nuts. And that's the one you mentioned before, Detroit Rock City, and then King of the Nighttime World. When I hear that car crash and I don't hear King of the Nighttime World coming on, it's like Bohemian Rhapsody, or not Bohemian Rhapsody.
We Are the Champions.
Yeah, and We Will Rock You. I mean, those need to be played together. These two need to be played together. So I love, like I said, Destroyer is probably my favorite Kiss album, I'll say. But if you haven't heard that 2012, the only thing they did is the Sweet Pain version with that extra solo that doesn't go with the song. That's not what you call that's another episode. But Detroit Rock City and King of the Nighttime World, dude. I mean, just hearing those two together, dude, it's just badass, man. And even when I hear Detroit Rock City live, I'm like, where is King of the Nighttime World? Damn it.
So far, we're only halfway through our top 10 list, and Worden already has 15 songs. So why don't you just say,
how many you have?
Why don't you just message me and say, hey,
you have 11.
A top 20.
Hey, it's better to ask forgiveness and permission, dude. Whatever. But if it makes you feel better, I only have one more tie. The rest.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah. Ward, my top 10.
Plus on my honorable mentions, I have ties on that too.
Jeez.
Dude, it's Paul Stanley. Come on, dude.
I know, but still, this is what makes the list. Trying to narrow it down. Anyway.
I'm giving you reasons why they're together. Thank you.
I got you. My number 4, and like I said, Sucker for a Ballad, and this one, probably the biggest ballad in the history of Kiss.
Beth?
No. Another one off Hot in the Shade that put Kiss back on the map, and MTV really couldn't ignore them after this, was Forever. I've talked about this a million times. the Paul singing is great in the song, but everybody that watches this that's a Kiss fan, Eric Carr's drums in this make this song, and then Bruce's solo.
Yes.
And one of the best solos he ever. That one, and the Tears of Falling solo is probably that would be in my top 5 Bruce solos right there. I'm not going to say which one would be top, but that would be in my top 5. But that song put Kiss back on the map.
That song got them to tour because they weren't going to tour before that. They had
song made that Hot in the Shade tour.
Because I remember they had a tour scheduled and there wasn't much interest. That song came out, puts a couple good newer bands on there. Shit, that was a great tour.
Yep, that's probably one of the best, if not the best set list Kiss has ever done.
So Michael Bolton saved Kiss.
Yep, not Vinny, Michael Bolton. Hey,
I heard about it. He had like some kind of
a brain tumor. He just had surgery to get for a brain tumor. I mean,
I like Michael Bolton. I like his solo stuff. I like the stuff he did with Bruce. I mean, he is like one, like especially like
crazy
steel bars, like on his. A lot of his stuff is like borderline hair metal. I mean, yeah.
That was probably a lot of that stuff you hear like that could have been left over from that Blackjack era.
Yeah.
I mean, when Bob was it just Bruce? Bob and Bruce played with Meatloaf. It was Bruce and Blackjack with his mustache.
Can you imagine? I mean, I was thinking about this the other night when I was listening to the Bruce Kulick interview. Can you imagine if Bruce Kulick, if Bob would have got him the gig and not Ace? I mean, I don't think Kiss would be what they are now, but I just wish there was a way we could go back and like watch alternative history,
I think Bruce fit in at the right time.
And Gene and Paul weren't control freaks like they were when he joined. So,
and there was a reason. I don't think Bruce would have liked wearing the makeup, and that was probably one of the reasons why he didn't want to. He didn't want to go
be a dog. Be a dog.
Be a dog. I guess I would be the dog. But I don't think Bruce would have fit well with the makeup thing, the whole cartoon character thing. But I may be wrong. I think Bruce is pretty easygoing. I don't know. I mean, it probably wouldn't have been Kiss without Ace. I get that. The original 4 were the perfect 4 for the makeup era.
Yeah, you say that, but
well, I mean,
you never know.
You never know different though. I mean, because we won't.
That's why I like alternative stuff, history. I like to see. I mean, wouldn't you? Maybe we should do that. Let's do that with AI. Do like, hey, what if Bruce Kulick would have joined Kiss and not Ace Frehley?
That's true.
We could do that.
I just don't think. I mean, Bruce fit with the '80s Kiss. I mean, Bruce is like I said, the ambassador of Kiss, especially for the '80s and '90s.
Yeah, but I think he's so versatile that he can play the. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a big Bruce fan, so I think.
Oh, I am too. I mean, no doubt.
I know, but I just wonder. But I don't know. Ace gets a lot of credit for the. I mean, you wouldn't have stuff like Cold Gin or like Torpedo Girl, but I mean, come on. Maybe he was the right guy. I don't know.
Maybe we could have got Bruce to come in for at least before Unmasked came out.
I tell you what, though. I see a lot of Ace cult saying, well, Kiss never would have been anything without Ace. It goes that way around, though.
Well, I mean, you could say that about any of the original 4. I mean, because they had a chemistry. Yeah,
I don't know about Paul. I don't know about. I
couldn't take Paul away. Kiss wouldn't have been the same without Paul.
No. Oh, I'm talking. The way I'm saying is that Kiss wouldn't be the same without Ace.
No,
but Ace definitely wouldn't have been anything. But I think Paul would have been a rock star without Kiss. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying, but I don't think he would have been with it. Look, I think that makeup gave Paul a little bit more confidence than he would have had.
Good.
If he'd have started off without the makeup and did it, I don't think he would have been as big as he was.
Dude, if Soul Station would have come out in 75, we all know that it would be, just big, dude. No, I think I think Paul and Gene are the perfect because they're different. And I think those two together, I mean, if the other two knuckleheads were in charge, Kiss would have ended after, the first album.
No, you couldn't have put them two in charge. No. They would have been, that ship would have sunk before the first album came out.
Yeah.
They would have been split up.
And
But yeah,
especially as I read how Ace treated like the people like that John Reagan guy and stuff, and it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's like Gina and Paul are dicks, but it's not like they try to screw somebody over. You know, I mean, it's not like
it's and you know, there's a lot of things from that Freely's comment
yeah.
that Ace did wrong,
But it's not just John. I've read his books and everything.
no, it wasn't just John. It was a lot.
I mean, you always heard that about. I mean, even what's her name, Diane Warren said that she got like checks for stuff she didn't even think she should have got. You know, like for Unmasked, they still paid her. Yeah. It ain't like they were trying to rip anybody off. They're real dicks about some sometimes, but I don't think Gene and Paul are the ones that try to like rip somebody off. You know, hell, they didn't even play Beth on the replay to get Peters. You know what I mean? They could have done it when now it just got, fined or something.
But I do think if you take one of those original guys away from the 70s, I mean, even, Peter, I mean, take Peter away, you wouldn't have got Beth. That was a big hit. That was a big hit on Destroyer. They wouldn't have got that mainstream, being noticed on mainstream with Beth. Take Gene away, the Demon. I mean, that's one of the things.
Yeah, but the thing with Peter though is you don't know that for sure. You don't know if somebody else. I mean, you don't know if somebody else could take Gene's place.
Come up with Beth.
Yeah, but maybe they come up with something better. I don't know.
The fact of the matter is, if you take one of those guys away, I think it's a whole different. I don't think.
Yeah, of course it is.
I don't think they get the height of popularity like they did in.
I don't
think they're as big a band as they are in the 70s.
I will say this. If two members were taken about, Kiss wouldn't have made it. The other two were expendable, in my opinion.
I don't think so at that time.
I think Gene and Paul with anybody else would have made it. It did, without Peter and Ace.
I
know, but I just the way I am because
agree with you on that one. I think.
Well, hello, 80s guy here, dude. The 80s Kiss guy.
In that era, in the 70s, from 70 to 79, 73 to 79, or even 73 to 76, you can't take one of those, any one of those guys.
No, you could take two of them out; it would make it.
I'm going to disagree.
There would be less fighting. They wouldn't have card games to
record. Well, at the time, they weren't fighting. They didn't start fighting till 76, 77.
Yeah, but who knows if somebody else like a Bruce Kulick came in there, they wouldn't have done that, and Kiss could have gone on. Or it could have imploded. What do I know, dude? I'm just saying, what if?
The chemistry was there. I just don't think they could have took. But anyway, moving on. Number 4.
Move on. Is that on your list?
Another time, sure. Number 4 for you.
Tie. My last tie. It's off the same album.
And here we are with Warden's top.
Okay. The top 3 are not ties. Let me just say that, okay? And anything below this can be changed. The top 3 are solid. The top 3 are my favorite Kiss songs. Paul songs. Okay. You talked about this earlier about, Johnny better run.
Better run.
Hide Your Heart should have been a big hit. Along with You Love Me to Hate You. How is that that is such a catchy song. Why wouldn't that be a single? You know what I mean? That's a great song. It fits the time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, those two, I just love both those songs.
A lot of people talk about Hot and Shades full of filler.
That one's not.
I don't think so. Hot and Shades got a lot of hits. A lot of hits up there that people don't realize. I mean, Silver Spoon, that's a great song. I mean, Quarantine covered that.
I almost put that as a 3-way tie, but I didn't want you to get mad at me.
Somewhere between
Heaven and Hell.
I
think that was on my Gene list.
And a lot of people don't like Betrayed. I like Betrayed. I do like that song. A lot of people give that crap.
But no one gives a fuck.
Exactly.
Dude, see what I did there? See what I did there?
I follow you.
What song on there that I always thought was kind of overrated is Rise to It. It's never been one of my favorites because to me, that just seems like a half-ass done song that rips, that sounds like a Cinderella song, that sounds like a Led Zeppelin song. I mean, it's I don't know, just the makeup was cool, but they didn't even get the costumes right. So it's like, come on, dude. Really?
Did you see the post I shared last week on the Facebook group? Cinderella doing a commercial for a pizza place.
Well, there was a hot dog stand, wasn't it?
Was a hot dog? Yeah, it was a hot dog stand. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my.
think Mitch LaFon posted that years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, he probably did. But
hey, that you do whatever you can to get attention, bro.
No.
You do whatever you do to get attention, man.
Tom Keeper up there saying, "Hot dog, come get a hot dog." I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is hilarious." Yeah, you do what you got to do, bud. But just think about it. About maybe a year or two later, they're doing "Nobody's Fool Would Shake Me," and then but they're talking about hot dogs earlier. I guess it's better than doing a Folgers commercial.
A band that totally just did not have the great looking front man, or it just that they were total miscast. They should have been. I mean, they were that first album. And the second album's more them. Long Cold Winter.
Bluesy.
The third album, yeah, bluesy. They were like Tesla kind of, but without Tesla didn't go glam though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cinderella's got some great stuff out there, and even the third album with Heartbreak Station was a good album. But it got
more things changed. The more that I didn't care for Shelter Me because I was like, it's a little too. I didn't care for that.
Was that the one on? What was the song on the Wayne's World show? Was that Shelter Me or?
No, that was the More Things Change or Hot and Bothered.
Hot and Bothered. That's right. That was Hot and Bothered. Yeah, that was a good one. But
man, they had a tour with David Lee Roth opening, or David Lee Roth, or they opened for David Lee Roth. Man, that would have been a great tour.
Yeah. Number 3. All right.
What were you laughing at, dude? Did I say something funny?
Laughing at you.
What am I funny?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
No, that would have been awesome, dude, seeing those two together.
Is that the Skyscraper tour?
Well,
that would have probably been Eat 'Em and Smile, though.
That was wasn't Poison tour? No, Poison wasn't headlining by then. Yeah, probably.
With Skyscraper, I'm thinking, when did Cinderella come out? 86?
Yeah, but 85, 86.
Skyscraper. They would have probably blew him away.
I remember my grandmother buying me the night songs, and she just looked at it. She goes, "Is what you want?" I go, "Yeah."
What?
And I think the next week she bought me "Stay Hungry." It's like, what the hell is this kid into?
Yeah, there was a friend of mine. He was, he's probably going to hear this, and that's fine. His mom and dad, his dad was a preacher, and
oh God,
they gave it. He went and bought Long Cold Winter. Him and my brother went to the music store. He bought Long Cold Winter. They got it home. It's
a great album.
His mom read the lyrics and made him return it.
For what song?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Why?
There's something in there she didn't like. I was trying to figure it out.
That album doesn't even have a sticker on it.
No
sticker. That was about as pop music as you get in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm trying to. I always tried to figure out what could have been offensive.
I say that, but then again, the way I was raised, I mean, I don't know why I'm saying that. I mean, I that's how it was too. You could listen to Rod Stewart.
Yeah, I could.
What are we talking about?
I'm trying to figure out what song, because you think about the songs that are on there. Bad Seamstress Blues led it off with Falling Apart at the Seam.
Yeah.
Gypsy Road. Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone. Couldn't have been that. The Last Mile. No. Second Wind. No. Long Cold Winter. Maybe they got offended by If You Don't Like It.
Maybe they didn't like it. That's why they sent it back.
Yeah. Coming Home, which is a great song. Fire and Ice, Take Me Back. I don't see anything.
You remember when that song by Bon Jovi, "Living in Sin," was such a big deal. I'm like, oh my God, they're living.
It couldn't get played on MTV except late at night.
Papa Don't Preach. Come on, that was.
Well, you remember the Motley Crue song, which that was kind of
You're All I Need.
All I Need. That was at the time talking about a guy stabbing his wife or stabbing his girlfriend.
It's funny about that song. They play that on pop radio, and I was like, have you people listened to the lyrics? They're only listening to the chorus. The blade of my knife faced away from your heart. You heard about that story, right?
It tore and slashed you apart. I mean,
and who was that guy that was in the video? He was the same guy that was in the Nothing But a Good Time video, washing the dishes, I think.
Oh, yeah.
The one that got arrested. The thing about what we're talking about.
I don't know.
About Motley Crue. I read a story one time. It was Nikki Sixx. I guess remember Jack Wagner had that song "All I Need."
Yes.
Well, I guess they were banging the same chick, which is kind of funny because she ended up with Heather Locklear years later, and I guess that he wrote that song as like a threat to Jack Wagner.
Oh, really?
Yep. There's some interview somewhere where he talks about that. I think it's on. I think it's on that Greatest Hits. I think they talk about that song. Yeah, he's saying that he did an FU to Jack Wagner. I like both those songs actually. I like that Jack Wagner song. It's Frisco on General Hospital, bro. That dude's a badass.
Yeah.
And on Merrill's Place.
All right, number 3 for me. And this is the lone song off his solo album. Oh. And one, I think, I made the comment a couple weeks ago that I knew it would never have happened, but if it had happened, it would have been awesome. The last show for them to end it with this song, and I'm talking about Goodbye.
It's only for now.
It's only for now because I'm coming back. Maybe it would have been like a precursor, like you think they're coming back, and maybe not just the avatars, but Goodbye. I remember even hearing that as a kid because I wasn't a big fan of the Paul album as a kid.
Blasphemy.
Hold Me, Touch Me just gave me cringe, make me cringe.
Did it bring back some kind of memory, Stevie, of somebody holding you and touching you?
You know how much I love ballads, but that one was just too sugary there. For
okay, you rag on that song. That's a pretty good guitar solo. I like that one by Paul. That's a good guitar solo.
Yeah, but there's so many good. That's the worst song in the album.
I agree.
Goodbye. To me, I mean, the way that guitar plays in that too. I love the guitar on that. I don't know if it's Paul or whoever, but just the chorus, Goodbye, it's only for now because I'm coming back. I swear it somehow. And then, it kind of slows down and it will change pace a little bit, but I'm not a big fan of
I'm on the run. Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah. The callback, just like you said, I'm not a big fan of that, but other than that,
because it's like almost putting two songs together. It's like,
exactly. It's like a mashup of it, but this is a great song. Really became a big fan of it the older I got, but Goodbye is my number 3.
I got a question. None of the Paul solo album made my list because I like his stuff with Kiss more. I love the Paul Stanley solo album. But Tonight You Belong to Me.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that not done with like a female? I mean, he's like singing it. It should be. I never liked that part. I always thought it would have been good to have a female for "We Fell in Love." As good as that is. I mean, I just always thought that would have been better with like a female lead at the time. You know what I mean? Maybe an Ann Wilson or something. If you could get Ann Wilson on there,
I could see that.
But I just never. I love the song.
When they do the intro to that song and he's singing and you're hearing the acoustic guitar, and then when it stops and that electric guitar kicks in, that is kick ass. I don't care what you say.
But it didn't make my list, so it's a great song. But it didn't make
my list either, but it could have very well have made it.
Okay, my top 3 are my top 3. 1 and 2 could be switched, but 3rd is in place.
Right.
I saw this song. It was on Kiss Exposed. And I remember that Paul's hair was just so big that he was sitting there, and I don't know if it was in Houston or Detroit or something, but he was like, man, his hair was like huge. He had a big old fro. I love the Alive version of this, Strutter. I love this song. I wish they played it more. I just when it's live, it's like, I mean, it's just that heavy guitar, and especially like on the when Ace is going wild on that part where you got all those wires and those. I think it was it the Destroyer tour? I think it was the Destroyer tour. I don't know. Destroyer tour is when Paul had the leotard on. I guess was that the Destroyer? He didn't have the stripes. Maybe it was the Alive. Well, what's up? What that is, isn't it? What a wrestling leotard? That's what it looks like. So it was like Strutter. It's to me, Strutter and Deuce are sister songs.
Yeah. And
it's Strutter's the first song you hear on a Kiss album. It's the first song ever, really, technically.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Wow.
The only song I think they also had one person jam. I think Joe Perry came out and jammed with them on the tour. They don't jam, so you know.
All right. So we're up in my number 2. These are going to be a pretty good Paul Stanley song. I mean, not pretty good, but iconic Paul Stanley songs. I'll put it that way. Number 2 is really what he's known for, in especially, I guess, in this set list that's lasted for the last 20 years. But I'm talking about Love Gun. You talked about it earlier, and like you said, the Alive 2 version, when it kicks in, all right, Love Gun, when they played it like that. Of course, later on, that's his iconic song that he gets to do the flying across to the platform and all of that. So, I guess the live version would be better to me. Alive 2, like you said, Alive 2 version. Studio version's okay. It's still good, but let me ask you this. Do you notice when they do the little – did you like it better live when they did the little pause after the intro and then the pyro hits? You know how they do the dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun, then they stop for a minute. Boom! I like that one better. I like that version better live. I guess
song always reminded me of that Whitesnake song. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, what was that? Down, Slow, and Easy. I mean, it the same dream. It always kind of remind me of that. Yeah. I mean, I just love the Alive 2. All right, Love Gun. I mean, that's just awesome.
Yeah, that was great. But Love Gun, for me, is my number 2.
Love Gun, Stevie. What is that about? All righty.
My pistol. That girl right there, that's right. It's my 6-inch pistol. That girl right there is gonna turn into 9.
Did he say that really?
Yes. On the reunion tour.
That's bad. Okay, my number 2 is off Love Gun. For the longest time, it was probably my favorite Kiss song. I think it's the best. I think it's the best. To me, it's the best Kiss song they ever. This is like if I had to describe Kiss or tell somebody I didn't like Kiss, what is one song that you play for me that would tell me defines Kiss? And it's I Stole Your Love. I mean, I would show them the Houston '77 tour when they busted out with the pyro going off where Joe Osteen preaches today. The summit in Houston. A lot of fornicating and sin went on in that church. So it's funny when I went to go see Kiss and Def Leppard. I saw them in Houston back in 2015, and I was talking to this guy at the bar. I saw them in '77. I go, I saw the summit. Huh? Is that where Joel Osteen's at? And he's like a native of Houston. He go, oh shit, I never thought of it that way. I go, yep. But just iconic that, and it's on Exposed too. And it's like it's just iconic where they're coming out and just Gene's by himself hits that bass line, and Houston is one of the best like Kiss boots out there. I mean, why it's got official release, I don't know. I mean, that's one of the best.
If you listen really close on the Houston thing, and I heard it, that was another bootleg tape I got back in the day. But if you listen real close in between songs, I don't know if you've ever noticed or not, and I can't remember. I want to say it's after they do Ladies Room. You hear Peter bitching like crazy. I mean,
Love it. Not Peter Criss.
He's talking about said the spotlight can suck a cock or something like that, did it? And then Ace said, you hear Ace say something to him. He tells him to shut the F up, Ace. You can hear, and then you hear Paul say, and I thought maybe at the time Paul was talking to them, but Paul says it a lot in different tours. If everybody will loosen up. But Paul says if everybody will loosen up, and he kind of looked like this when he said it.
That's funny coming from him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, back in the day, Paul was, that was different Paul back then. But yeah, you listen real close. And I can't remember if it's night 2 or night 1, but you put your headphones on and turn it up a little bit and listen between songs. And
this is off
Houston. Yes. And I mean, it's more, he says more, but that was the one I noticed the most was him. He is talking trash.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Speaking of like off mic stuff, when Peter Criss is doing his drum solo on God of Thunder and Alive 2,
yeah,
what is he shouting there?
You've
heard that too, right?
I had it on. Look, at work when I've got I listen to podcasts most of the time, but when I've got my saw going, I can't really hear the podcast that great, so I'll turn music on. And God of Thunder came on, and I was wondering it was right before Christmas. I heard it, and I was like, I wonder what he's saying.
It's right before Paul go, Peter Criss on the drum. Yeah.
Yes.
It's Peter, though. It's Peter, yeah.
It is Peter, yeah. Definitely. But that'll be something for some of the people out there listening. Y'all can do your research and find out what he's saying. Like the kids in the God of Thunder song, what are they? I actually found out what they're saying.
Start playing now, right? Or something like that.
I actually found out. I got it on my phone somewhere. They wrote out what the kids are actually saying. One of them says King Kong one time.
Well, that would make sense because that was big at the
King Kong. But
that was big at the time.
Yeah, King Kong back with who was it?
Jessica Lange.
And was it Jeff
Bridges?
Yeah, because I had a little. I wish I still had it. Maybe my mom still had it. I had a little cup. It had the King Kong. The icon, the movie poster of him had it on there, and I don't know why.
I had the T-shirt, the blue T-shirt of him on top of the World Trade Center.
That's what it was. It was a picture of that on the cup. So it was just an old childhood memory. Number 1 for me, and you just talked about this, and the live version on Alive 2, where you hear, and obviously this Alive 2 must have led off that set list because you hear the pyro going off in the back. You listen real close, you can hear the pyro going off. But I Stole Your Love, to this day, I have no clue why this is not in the set list. Why
he can't sing it anymore.
What is so hard about I Stole Your Love?
I don't know. I'm just trying to sound smart.
I'm trying, because I've tried to figure that out over the years. What part of I Stole Your Love couldn't he handle? I mean, if he can handle
Love Gun,
yeah. If he can handle Love Gun, I mean, he can handle I Stole Your Love. Maybe he's just.
Did they play this on the reunion tour?
They did at certain times. I think on the.
It may just be one. It may not be. They played it a lot on their Revenge tour. It may just not be one of Paul's favorite songs to sing. Maybe
I want to say I don't know if they played it on the first part of the reunion tour. I think on the Lost Cities part, they started playing it a little bit. But yeah,
because I don't think they played it when I saw them here in San Antonio, and that was one of the first shows.
They played it on the Hits tour though.
Oh yeah, they opened with it.
Yeah, but
I remember seeing it and it being so loud. I was like, "What the hell is this?" I couldn't tell what song it was because it was so loud. That's Love Gun.
Yeah, I know. I Stole Your Love though is my number 1, and I was looking at. I'm gonna say this, and I meant to text you about this because when I was looking up Paul Stanley Kiss songs, a song came up there for some reason, and I know why, but Black Diamond came up, and that I don't consider
just
that
the beginning. Just the beginning.
That's a Peter song to me, and we talked about that in the Peter episode. So, Yeah, all right. You're number one. A 5-way tie for number one.
You don't know what my number one is?
What is it?
I have no idea what my number one is.
No.
It's the song that started me out on my Kiss journey. It had to do with a girl telling me she liked this song. And I go, what song? I mean, it's like when I heard this, it's like, God, Kiss has been around forever. I remember I was a little kid. It's like the mid 80s. So I went out and got the Columbia House and listened to it. Yeah. Tears Are Falling. That is probably my favorite Kiss song. It's a song that proves Paul Stanley's greatness as a songwriter. He don't need Michael Bolton. And you ask him, he didn't need him either. He needed his biography.
Yeah, that's what he said.
But Tears Are Falling. I remember the Spotify a few years ago that came out as, of course, Kiss is my number one band, and Tears Are Falling was my number one song. I was like, wow, and it's like, oh, I do like that song because, I mean, Spotify used to have a thing where they mix songs more. Now they don't do that.
Right.
That's why I went away from. You can still do it with Apple. That came up, and Tears Are Falling. I love the solo. This is when I got into the band. I mean, really full-fledged was on Crazy Nights, but Asylum was my first one. But Tears Are Falling, next to I Stole Your Love, they could switch.
Right.
It's where it started out for me. It's the first song, so it's my number one.
Yeah. You had that trilogy of songs from the Asylum, the videos with Tears Are Falling, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and All Night. That I'm surprised you didn't do a 3-way tie with those.
Well, I didn't do a 3-way tie with these because these are set, and these songs mean so much to me that it wouldn't have any kind of the top 3 are solid. They'll always be my top 3 because they've been my top 3 probably for most of my time I've been a Kiss star.
Well, if that's the one that got you, that really got you into Kiss, then I can see why that would be number one.
And I like Who Wants to Be Lonely. I think it's great. I love All Night. The only song I don't like on Asylum is Radar for Love. It's not it's not good. I like the rest of them, and it's just,
Who Wants to Be Lonely is one of the another song that should have been a big hit for Kiss. I don't know why. I mean, that song there's a lot of people that love that song too.
I don't know. I think Kiss pissed off a lot of people in the 70s, and they were just getting them back in the 80s, maybe.
How the heck did they piss them off, though?
Well, you remember that stuff about them pulling knives on, who knows what else they did back then? I don't know.
We'll see. But anyway, so that is Warden's got the top 30. This is like a Casey Kasem list over here. American Top 40 with Paul Stanley Top 40.
Now you're ready for my honorable mentions?
Oh, gosh. Go ahead.
Okay. Only song I like on the album, Master and Slave. Great song. The only song I really, really like. I mean, I Walk Alone's okay. Magic Touch, we talked about it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This next one is the last great Kiss song they ever wrote. It's called Modern Day Delilah. I think that's a great song. I mean, it's probably the best last Kiss song they've done. Shout It Out Loud. I never get tired of it. I love that song. Is That You? Another precursor to hair bands. Shandy. I Just Wanna.
Shandy.
Got to choose any version, the live version or the unplugged version. Why that wasn't on the U.S. release, I don't know. I Was Made for Loving You, and Sure Know Something is a tie. That's my tie. Room Service, and if I had to pick off the solo, my favorite song is It's All Right.
Okay. All right. So let me go through mine, since I'll make up for all 40 of your songs with my honorable mentions, I guess.
Hey, 10 goes into whatever number, how many times?
My Way, which you talked about, was on your list. I've Had Enough.
Into the Fire. Good one.
Is That You, which you mentioned too. King of the Nighttime World was on your list.
Yep.
This one is one that probably people are going to say, well, I don't know about that. That's a little, but I love the live version of 100,000 Years. That's All Hell's Breaking Loose, which the first rap rock song. Forget You, Walk This Way.
Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, Coming Home, which was, hearing that on Unplugged, you were like, where the heck did this come from?
Yep.
Every Time I Look at You, which was Paul's second try at Forever. Raise Your Glasses, a great song off Psycho Circus. Reason to Live. Let me see. Shandy, I do like Shandy. Shandy's one that, let's see. Take Me, Tears Are Falling, All Night, Who Wants to Be Lonely. Oh, gosh. Love and Chains. Love that song. Not a big fan of Move On like some people are off the solo album. Not a big fan. Tonight is on to me. You Love Me to Hate You. And that's it. That's it. So
our top 10 Paul Stanley songs turned into top 100.
Good Lord. We could have done top 50.
Yeah. Stay tuned next week for our revised list.
So our next episode we will take, I don't know how we do it with Warden's list, but
I can pick four.
Pick four from each member, and we'll put them against each other, and we'll make
solo album or each member. Period.
Each member.
Period.
Your top four that we did off the list from each one. You got to pick 4 songs from each of them, and then we'll try to narrow it down. We'll try to narrow it down. We're not good at narrowing it down, but to a 12-song album.
I can do it.
Come up with a name for it. Each one of us will have
what was that one they were going to come out? What was it called? Who Dares Wins or whatever.
Yeah, that was Crazy Nights. I remember reading that in Hit Parader, because they were like, the next album. They did a big story on it, and it said the next Kiss album, Who Dares Wins, and I was like, Who Dares Wins? But
we'll just call it Destroyer 2.
Yeah, it's the best thing since Destroyer. That was every album that came out in the 80s and after. The best one since Destroyer. And none of them were.
Revenge, maybe. No, Revenge was as good as Destroyer.
Revenge wasn't as good as Destroyer, but it was good.
Okay, Revenge or Creatures of the Night?
Whew. Gotta go Creatures.
Same.
Yeah, gotta go Creatures.
I have to say, if you picked Revenge, let's do an album wars.
No, I gotta go Creatures on that. It's just
there's not a bad song on Creatures.
Most of them will return of Kiss, of rocking Kiss, but the Eric Carr drums. I know everybody's like, well, the drums that blah, but still, I've got more favorite songs on Creatures than I do on Revenge.
Creatures or Destroyer?
Destroyer.
Same.
Yeah, I had to go Destroyer. I'm not gonna lie.
King Kong or Godzilla?
I have to go Godzilla.
King Kong, man.
Well, that's fine.
Have you seen that new Godzilla Minus One?
It's
good.
What?
It's good.
Which
King
one?
Kong -1.
What's the deal with the -1? What does that mean?
I think it's like it's a reboot of the original with Raymond Burr. It's like takes place in World War II and stuff.
Right.
So it's like just Godzilla versus a bunch of Japanese people. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. No Raymond Burr. It's a reboot of it. I think -1 is like how it came out and stuff. But if you don't mind subtitles, to me, it's the best Godzilla movie there ever been, and I've seen them all.
Oh, really?
I'm not a superheroes person anymore. I still like monster movies, and I can't wait for King Kong versus Godzilla. But I've always been a King Kong guy.
I got a friend of mine at work that is a big King Kong fan, so I'll ask him what he thought of it.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll see him tomorrow and see what he thought of it.
I thought Skull Island was pretty good.
Yeah, he was a big fan of that. I don't think he actually messaged me one night. He said A&C showing Godzilla versus Mothra. Turn it over there real quick.
Yeah.
And I sat there and watched with him and messaged him back and forth about it. I was like,
I used to go see those like in the 70s. Like they were already 10 years old.
Right.
But, I mean, that's what we saw back then. I mean, that shit was great, you know. And
I was going to say that was the first time I watched a King Kong movie like that. One of the old King Kong movies in a long time.
We need to like kind of do a top 10 or top like King Kong or like monster movies or something like that.
Yeah.
Like a list. It can include vampires, Frankenstein, like our favorite. You know, it doesn't have to be Halloween necessarily, but you know.
Right. Right. All right. So that does it for our top 10 Paul Stanley.
And you got some monster talk there at the end.
Yep. You got a little bit of extra. So like I said, next time we will combine all of these and make our own album with our own album names and see how that goes. See what you guys think. But Worden, any last words?
No. Paul Stanley. I've said it before that I got into Kiss in the '80s, and doing this list, Paul Stanley is definitely the voice of Kiss. Gene's the face. But it made me reevaluate. I always said that, I was like, Paul was my favorite guy in the band. But, I mean, honestly, after doing these lists, I think it's Paul and Gene are pretty much even for me because there's a lot of Gene Simmons songs that I love too, a lot of deep tracks. But, to me, Paul's the king of Kiss, especially in the 80s. But there would be no Kiss without Gene or the other two guys, as you say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you could have took them away. But anyway. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week on The Fly. You guys have a great week. And
Saturday.
we will
Saturday night.
Tune in for our Iron Claw review from me and Worden and the hitman from Down Under, Jack Pinocchio. We'll see you guys Saturday night. You guys have a great rest of your week.
See ya.
See you next time on The Fly.